Hey, Mariah.
Hi, Monique.
Today is a huge day for us.
I know.
We have hit recording and airing 50 episodes of our Heart and Soul podcast.
50's a lot of episodes. What were we thinking when we decided to do a season of 50 episodes? That's amazing.
It is. I think this speaks to our ambition.
Wow.
Because all of this has been done while we have multiple other jobs and companies.
How did we even do it?
I don't know.
I guess thank you to our producer, Asher, for getting us in here and making this easy and efficient and fitting into our lives.
We wouldn't have been able to do it. But I want to celebrate and talk about some of our highs. And also this whole mastermind process. I want to kind of come full circle. So let's have a conversation about that.
I'm excited to go back to the beginning of where we started and take a look back on this podcasting experience and where we started. So let's go. Welcome to Heart and Soul, the podcast where we empower and inspire women to lead their best lives, harnessing the power of their hearts and souls. We are Mariah
and Monique,
your hosts and guides on this journey of self-discovery and personal growth.
In each episode, we will dive deep into topics that matter most to you, from self-love and confidence to career development, relationships, and everything in between. We believe that every woman has a unique strength and inner wisdom waiting to be unleashed.
Join us as we cover insightful heart and soul-centered topics and interview incredible women who've overcome challenges, chased their dreams, and found their true purpose. Through all of this, you will discover practical tips, strategies, and real-life stories to help you navigate life's twists and turns.
For whatever season of life you're in, this podcast is your safe space to explore, learn, grow, and possibly even laugh and cry with us. So grab your headphones, maybe your favorite drink, and we'll embark on this transformative journey together.
With Heart, I'm Mariah.
And with Soul, I'm Monique.
So 50 episodes where we have featured guests of so many important women in our life, many of whom came to us through our mastermind group or groups that we've belonged to. It's just mind-blowing to think about the conversations that we've been able to have and how the work that we've grown together over the past 4 years of running a mastermind group has amounted to this.
Which that is crazy that it's been 4 years.
Yes. We are currently recruiting for our 4th cohort of our mastermind group. And if anyone's been listening to this podcast from the beginning I encourage you to go back to the beginning if you haven't. You'll hear in our very first episode, it's all about how we started a mastermind together and we started working with women for their own growth and focusing on themselves in a peer coaching environment to create that. And we did it. And it was one of our mastermind members who was like, you two should start a podcast.
And
lo and behold,
50 episodes later.
Here we go.
I want to say too, that the thing that has been easy for both of us, and I know I'm speaking for both of us, but I know you'll say it's fine, is that we are natural supporters of women business leaders and entrepreneurs.
It's a no-brainer.
It is for us, but not for everyone.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this is just like such a elevated way in which we have been able to just be like the biggest cheerleaders of so many amazing women.
Well, and the podcast has allowed us to take it out of just our group where we're
the 5 people at a time.
5 people at a time and share it out to a much larger audience. I mean, all around the world. So I feel like it was the next best thing for us to do. And I'm so proud of us.
Agreed. I can't believe we did it. It's like when your baby, gets potty trained.
Oh my gosh. Well, our baby is fully formed at this point, and we're thinking about what's next. Well, for us, it's continuing to do the in-person work with our mastermind group. We continue to grow and evolve and figure out what that looks like, and attract the next beautiful women who are going to join us. That's something that's interesting, and maybe we've talked about in our past episodes on this topic, but the women really find us, and it always happens in December. We think we're gonna, fill the group earlier. We have aspirations, but at the end of the day, we really know, like, in the month of December, from conversations that we have randomly with people we know, that where it comes up to just putting it a little bit out there on our social media and having people reach out with curiosity, to messaging people that maybe we've talked about in the past. Like, we just put it out there, and then it comes back, and we ultimately come up with a group, 4 to 5 women who are ready to take the journey with us.
And I think you've said this before. Whoever is meant to be in the room is always the exact person who's supposed to be in the room and ends up being in the room. But let's talk about, for a second here, who is the ideal person for a mastermind, right? We've described, I think, in a previous episode, what is a mastermind. It's where women get together, they peer coach each other, we facilitate. We also give our thoughts and ideas about them when they're in the hot seat. But because we now have been doing this for a while, I feel like we have a pretty good pulse on the types of people and the types of women, identifying people who our mastermind is ideal for.
Yeah, to truly dial it right in, it's somebody who's at a place in their life where they are, one, feeling a little bit lonely.
Yeah, because it's very lonely being a solo entrepreneur or a solopreneur, or even just being a female in a leadership role.
Like you're CEO or you lead your company with a team. Well, you cannot go to all of them with all of your stuff. You cannot unpack everything that you need to.
We don't have peers.
It's hard to have peers when you're at the top, right? So, so you're a little bit lonely for some reason in your journey as a leader woman, whether you have a business or you lead one in any way, and you're recognizing that you're really lacking a peer-to-peer relationship.
Yes.
And also you're feeling the need for growth or expansion in your life, whether it's in business or personally, because that's a big focus of our mastermind, is that you're a whole person. It's not just about
the
business.
Holistic approach.
It's about your whole life. But you're feeling or urging a sense of like, I need to grow and expand, and I don't want to do it alone. And I know that I'm going to need some help along the way. And I'm looking for a supportive group of women led by 2 badasses like Mariah and Monique, who will meet monthly, where we have set meeting times. So you just put it in your schedule all year. It's the second Wednesday of every month for 3 hours. Like you can rest assured in it. You're not worried about whether it's happening or not. You're investing in it. You have skin in the game with your dollars, so that you're saying like, I'm doing this for myself. I'm investing in this. That holds you accountable to make sure that you go and do it.
And we hold them accountable in the groups.
Yeah, because we know you've paid for this, and you need to get something out of it.
Game. Yeah,
absolutely. You're willing to be vulnerable. Maybe that's not something you're entirely comfortable with. Maybe that's a new concept. That's very common.
Yeah.
But you have a willingness to be vulnerable. That is important, because that's where you really get the most out of the work, is if you are willing to open up and be vulnerable. If you're just curious about what peer coaching could do for you, maybe you've done some individual coaching, you've done therapy, you've kind of tried some other mediums, and you're looking for something that is more dynamic, and you want to meet some new people that will become your lifelong friends, and you'll have,
oh my gosh, the bonding.
It's unbelievable what you go through together, even in 1 year of a group. We actually just met with our first year group last night for a happy hour to celebrate where they've all come from along the way. And it was just absolutely incredible. Think about where they started and where they were today, and where they're headed next.
Right.
And to watch them self-reflect on that was really powerful
too. So connection.
Yep.
Lonely at the top. Maybe you're just alone, feel lonely in general. You want a little bit of fire lit under your feet.
Yep. Accountability.
Accountability. And also, another thing too, and maybe you already touched on this, is direction.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people, like maybe they're in a business, but they're just in transition.
You're asking yourself what's next.
Yeah, I don't know. Or they need to up level. And so they're kind of like struggling and flailing a little bit with like, I don't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
And so because we've done this for a while and I'm a life coach, you've done mentoring forever and had employees, we kind of can recognize and see what's kind of going on and being like, have you thought about this?
I have to giggle at I like the flail. If you're in the flail, you're probably a good fit. Like you're not in the depths of despair. You're just in a bit of a flail, and you're a woman identifying business owner or leader, lives in Duluth, Minnesota. Like you are
Superior, Wisconsin as
or
well.
Superior, yeah, general region. You can get here. You're a good fit for. You're a candidate potentially for our group, or for any mastermind group. So I would say, anybody listening to this that is outside of our region, obviously not able to participate with us in person. What is there a group in your area, or how can we help you? We're happy to help support you in connecting.
With us. Yeah.
Because we kind of know what to look for. But what do you need? And does that sound like something you need? Because it might exist for you.
Okay, I have one more example as well. So not only are they maybe flailing in their professional life, but they may be actually struggling personally. And I only know this because of myself.
Yes.
Right? Like the 2 times I was in a mastermind with you, the 2 years, there were huge life shifts, none of which really had anything to do with work. No. Well, I mean, the one did, but like they're predominantly about my personal life.
Yeah.
And
the flail could be in any part of your life.
Yes, I just want to be clear.
Yeah.
We have taken a holistic approach in that it's not just about careers, because we've been in groups before where it was so fully career driven, goal driven. Are you making your numbers? And that was our goal, was to actually to encompass the whole person.
The whole heart and soul.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's fun to start having conversations with people and sharing that with them and seeing, literally watching their faces sort of light up as they hear what this group could bring to them, and then self-identifying that maybe that is something that they're looking for. And we were also thinking it might be helpful to share some stories of the women that we've worked with,
case studies.
Anonymously, but case studies of where we've seen them.
The growth and expansion of our participants. And I mean, this is not about you and I patting our backs. This is
not at all.
Because we are just sitting in the room, right? All we do is offer a hand, but also all the other women in the room offer the hand too. Yeah. And it has been, I just get giddy thinking about it. So let's share one of these.
Yeah. So one I'm thinking about came to us, was currently employed and had a position for quite a while. It was actually a family business, and really wanted to go out on her own, had a great concept that she'd started, and it was taking off. Like there was a lot of excitement in her side hustle and steam behind it, which was offering a much healthier working environment long-term for her. And there was just so much timidity.
Yeah,
like
fear
and timid, and yet like this fire, like you could just see it in her eyes. Like she knew that this was it for her. She knew this was what she was supposed to do. But the actual jumping off the cliff, like she needed someone to give her a little kick.
We talked about, we pushed.
But thankfully, she found us last December, joined the group, was very outside of anything she'd ever done for herself. I don't think she's ever invested in herself at all.
I think.
Right? Maybe, yeah. But on a business aspect.
Yes.
Never
been in business.
Never been in business. Was just literally
side hustling.
Working more of a desk job. And this was the side hustle. So this was January that we started in the group. By May, she had quit that job. Well, we worked on a plan. So the group supported her in working out a plan, a transition plan that was well thought out.
Love it.
That had even including the emails that were sent to say she was leaving, the transition plan for who would take her job, exactly what day she was leaving. Like we helped her spell it all out. So by May 15th of last year, she no longer worked there.
Yeah.
she just jumped right off the cliff,
Yep.
but into a business that was so clearly where she was meant to be. And literally it was like the wings, like she jumped off and she was wearing wings.
Right.
And she was flying with this. And it was so beautiful. And all of a sudden the light, like the light emanated from her because she was doing what she was meant to be doing.
I do feel like so many of us can resonate with that story because we all have like these little hopes and dreams nagging inside of us. But a lot of fears and self-doubt don't allow us to take the leap.
Yep.
To do the thing. We play small.
And that's exactly what was going on.
Yeah.
And she didn't know another way but small.
Mm-hmm.
And just sitting in the room with us where
we don't play small.
We'd ask her like, what do you have to lose?
Right.
And then even just crunching numbers on the back of a napkin with the group, it's like, you're losing money staying where you're at. You could be making money if you jumped off the cliff. And I remember just like her eyes lighting up and realizing like, oh my God, like, I have to stop playing small. I have to start playing big. And all of a sudden, once she leaped and business took off, guess what also followed behind it? Her personal life.
Of course it did, because she was more aligned with her authentic, true nature.
Yeah. The next thing you know, she's in a relationship, absolutely glowing and on a great path. So like that sounds like some sort of like, rainbows and unicorns.
But literally that happened.
It's a real story.
I mean, and that was
real.
actually out of that one group. There was 2 people who had the same exact thing happen.
Well,
Not the same exact,
I'd say
but similar.
every single member I could tell a story about
major transformation.
Major transformation.
Yeah, major transformation.
That happened.
Okay, another major transformation that happened is someone who had been kind of knocked down by life.
Big time.
This one resonates with me. I don't want to get into the details because we don't want to call out people. But had gone through a lot of personal difficulties and was sort of having, I'm going to call it this, she did not, an existential crisis where she's kind of like, I don't know, had a great career, great family, but had a lot of things happen.
All at once in quick succession with loss.
Like boom, 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 boom.
Loss of family, just boom, boom, boom.
And it sort of made her question her identity as a person.
And worth.
Yes. And just kind of like the flailing was happening.
Absolutely. I would say that was evident, a flail.
And I feel like the group for her that year was a grounding presence that helped her rediscover and come back to who she truly was.
The absolute like glowing human that had always been there.
She's magical.
But couldn't see it for herself anymore and was just questioning. It was just like suddenly everything was called into question. And I remember sitting in the room and just being like, I don't think you understand how you absolutely have
value.
A light glowing from you that we can all feel. And slowly but surely through that year, that light came back. And when it came back, the direction of what she wanted to do next became clear. And what, in the next phase of her career, what to focus on, it was like, oh my God, yes. And all the pieces like a puzzle just started to click into place.
Yeah, I love that analogy actually, because that's exactly how we saw it kind of domino effect into place.
Yeah.
And then also because she is such a dynamic and like magical human being, the ripple effect of her seeing her own value and then inspiring others to see their own value has been so amazing to watch. Like, oh, that's our girl. She did it.
Yeah.
She's doing it. I love it.
So cool. So cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking about, a third story. This is somebody who had a big business, like leading big teams and really, so much going on in business and
very
yet
busy.
Buried under this, like, I can't ever like get out from under the busyness.
And also I would say when we did our burnout, because every year in our first years, we do our burnout series, which if you haven't listened to our episodes, please go back. Burnout's fantastic book. And we've covered it extensively. And I feel like so like on cue for just women in general.
For sure. Yeah.
But she related to that. Like,
Well, I think
wait,
she
I feel so seen.
didn't realize she was burned out.
Right.
Like literally didn't realize
Here,
that
read
was
this. This
even
is
a
you.
thing. And in that retreat,
Yeah.
like suddenly was like a huge awakening. I am burned out. Okay, now what? We need to put a plan together. And that burnout was affecting her ability to have boundaries in her business. Her employees were walking all over her. Literally, we were watching it happen. And through then confronting that burnout, recognizing where her limiting beliefs were about what could and couldn't happen in her business and how to actually grow sustainably through practices or through process and systems and tools.
Yes.
And some of these, just when you're building a business, like you're kind of just flying by the seat of your pants in the beginning, and then you need to start creating.
But a lot of people don't. A lot of
entrepreneurs,
they miss that mark because they're so busy working it. They're working in their business. They don't work on their business. And you and I are both really, really hit that. We want people to work on their businesses.
We helped her to see and identify that that's what was happening. And then 1 month at a time, slowly but surely.
Yeah, it's been awesome.
Change that trajectory, and to now be able to sit with her and go like literally talking about software and systems and tools and this invoice and that. And I'm like, oh my God, who are you? And this is so phenomenal. And actually now spending so much more of her time in joy.
Yes, that's a word I was thinking.
Hobbies, pursuing
because she's freed herself up. Yes.
Oh my God. It's like, what if that didn't happen?
Right.
And I mean, again, we're not here to say like, to toot our own horn, like you said before, but these are real stories.
Yeah, we're not making
transformations that happen. And no matter what, your particular circumstances are, you can't help but grow when you are willing to be vulnerable and work on yourself with another group of women, women in a group.
Yes.
You're going to grow.
And the one thing too that you and I, we do interview everyone. We make sure that the people in the room are ready for the work, because we can't put someone in there who's not ready to actually have us hold up the mirror and say, do you see what we see?
Of course. Yep.
So there is that too. They need to be at the right time and phase of their lives.
Or saying, are you the right candidate? Like, are you ready to be vulnerable? Are you able to be there? Are you interested and open to growth? Like, what other work have you done? Is this the right next move for you? That's part of that collaborative process where we figure out who the members of the group are going to be.
And I think it's really interesting. This is something that you have been saying, is that I'd like you to just share, and then I want to share about mine, how you choose to like let people know that what they need to do. Like, what's your style? And we talk about what your style is.
Oh, my style. Yeah. Well, so yeah, that's a good segue. So in the group itself and in a mastermind format, basically there's two parts. One is we spend a little bit of time on a topic, and this isn't unique to our group because it's an icebreaker. It's a grounding, connecting topic.
Educational.
And something that we can all relate to. So we spend about 20 minutes in the beginning of the meeting just talking about like mindfulness and meditation as a practice. Okay, that's interesting. Curiosity, food for thought, right? Then we go into the hot seats, and you mentioned that before. The hot seat it's a word we adopted over time, but it really works for this, where it's a one-on, like an individual approach, one-on-one. So all of the group is focused on one person sharing, what do you need from the group? We ask them that question. And that's their chance then in 3 to 5 minutes to just kind of put it out there, whether it's they come with a list and they're really clear on what they want to talk about, or some months they come and they're just like word vomit, like just get it out, right? Through that, it becomes clear as you're listening where the needs are. They don't have to know what they need. They just have to talk, because then we can feel and
yes, we know,
glean what they need.
Yes.
Then we go around the room and give feedback. We always start with the members of the group. They give the feedback first. They spend a couple of minutes each person just kind of say, like, here's what I heard. Here's what I heard you need. And here's how I can help. Or here's what I'm, have you thought about this? Have you thought about that?
Reflections.
And a really important part of that process is you cannot rebuttal them in that
No, there's no, it's
feedback.
not a conversation.
Yeah. That's hard to like sit on it and be like, but.
I want to defend myself.
So we practice that. We're like, okay, we're going to hold you
Active
to this.
listening.
And as facilitators, that's where we kind of butt in and are like, hey, just listen, just wait. And then at the end, you and I give our feedback. And that's also different in our group that we recognized I cannot just sit on my hands and not say something if I have a valuable insight that might help the person that's talking. I got to be able to share. And through that, I've sort of identified I'm a little bit of more of the tough love member of our team because I'll be listening to someone and I'm like, I'm going to call bullshit on
I love
what you just said. Like, the limiting belief that you just shared. Why can't you do that thing? Let's break that down. And so it's in the most loving way coming from me,
you have the best of intentions.
Very heartfelt and centered. Often you just need someone to say, no, listen to yourself. I call bullshit. So that's sort of the approach that I take. And I think what's just so unique about our relationship is how we both come at it in a different way, but we're often saying exactly the same thing.
And I tend to come with, it's really interesting when I'm sitting there and observing and listening, actively listening to someone talk about their experience or they're telling their story.
And what their needs are.
Right. I just intuitively know and can hear and sense and feel what it is that they need to move them through where they're stuck.
Yep.
Because when we're lamenting and talking about our stories, it's really just us trying to process and figure out, I don't know what to do. I don't know what path to take. This path seems really great, or this path seems greater. This path seems crappy, but this seems to be the path before me. And for me, spirit or, a higher power just kind of gives me a nudge in the direction in which to, and that in the direction in which to kind of point them. And that's what typically comes out of my mouth. And like you were saying, you take this tough love approach. I kind of take this like intuitive approach. Not always. Sometimes it's tough love too, actually. But usually we are just like so on board with each other because we've been doing this for so long. Yeah. Not only facilitating masterminds, but we've been doing life business so long, right?
The cool thing is around the room, the different takes on the same issue
valuable.
And the different just creative problem solving that happens in the group dynamic around whatever it is. And like when I say like need, what do you need? This could be something along the lines of like, I need to grow my business and I need help figuring out where to get clients. Okay. Well, let's dive in, right? Let's spend some time on it. Everybody's going to share their ideas based on what they heard you're looking for. Or here's the questions that you need to ask yourself in order to reveal your ideal client. Or it could be like, I'm really struggling with my self-worth. I can't manage to accomplish a project because I don't believe in myself to be able to do it. Okay, let's unpack that. Let's listen to what is behind that. How can we help? Like, it's such a gamut of where anyone's at in any given month. But all of us have been in those shoes at some point. We've all have like a piece of that we can say, oh, I relate. Here's some things I've tried, or even just to say I relate, to be with,
to
in
validate
that feeling
someone.
And to validate.
Yeah,
it goes so far.
It's totally
in a room.
True.
I mean, we've had times where we've all just like, yeah, no, it sucks.
Right.
The only way out is through. So just keep swimming. Like you got this, and that's really powerful too. So it's so cool to be closing out one group and beginning to assemble the next one. And
it's exciting.
Who are these women going to be?
Oh my gosh,
and where are they going to go?
About this. I'm so excited to meet these new people, to meet these brave souls who are out there being entrepreneurs or business leaders in this current climate, and are
more than ever,
right? And are just blazing the trails. I'm beyond excited to meet them, to get to work with them, to assist them in growing and expanding as not only business leaders and entrepreneurs, but as people, as humans,
as whole women,
as souls.
Yes.
Yeah. I get so excited about it.
It's a gift. It's a gift that they trust us to hold space for them.
It's an honor.
an honor
us.
to have this conversation, to do this work together.
Yes.
Like just for you and I
know.
to get to collaborate. And then to have had it grow into a podcast. And now we're like, well, what's next? You know, because as we can only serve so many people in person.
Right.
And we can only do so many podcast episodes in a year. We're asking ourselves, where does the Heart and Soul Collective go next? What do you and I do next? I think that's actually an interesting question as we close out this first season of what anybody listening would like to hear from us, what next topics we should cover.
Oh, feedback is
guests
always
that
wonderful.
we might want to have on the podcast, or what other ways or mediums could we interact with people that would be useful, right?
What if your mastermind doesn't resonate with you or align with you? What ways would you be curious about working with Mariah and I, hearing our stories or hearing our thoughts on specific things? Would you like us to come and speak?
Yes.
Right? We could,
Yeah,
you and I are both
speaking,
speakers. Yeah. Would you like us to host events where you come and meet us and, I don't know, eat a meal, right?
Would you like to have dinner with us?
Well, we both
now
like
my
to
mind
eat.
is spinning. Yes,
Would
lots
you
of
like
ideas.
us to coach you?
Individual coaching.
Right, like both of us get on a call with you, and
maybe one-on-one isn't, or maybe a group isn't your vibe, but you want some one-on-one coaching. Right. I think we're looking for direction from the universe or from our
We're pulling
listeners.
our masterminds out there.
we're asking all of you who've been listening to this podcast, like, what would you like to see next too? And I think we have ideas and we're working on them, but it's exciting. We go into the next year. We turn the corner on our first year of putting this podcast out, and
50.
Our fourth year going into of hosting an in-person mastermind, and thinking like,
retreats.
What's next?
We've done tons of retreats.
Oh, yes.
And so to the podcast, we have committed to another 25 episodes next year.
Yep.
50 was ambitious and all.
We're going to take just like a slight step backwards in the volume, but we're going to really focus on the quality of the episodes that we put out. We're going to bring some really exciting guests that we've already been working on. And we have a whole list of topics to cover. So can't wait to
share more
about what that looks like.
Yep.
And we have some other fun things in the hopper, some travel retreats, some maybe other in-person exciting offers. So
listen up, pay attention. We're movers and shakers.
Getting started. We're just getting started.
I love it.
So with that, I think we can close out our first season of the Heart and Soul Mastermind with our 50th episode. It's been an absolute pleasure to sit in this chair across from you with our producer, Asher, and just talk.
I know.
Yeah.
It's a lost art form, isn't it? To the ability to sit and just talk.
Have a conversation.
About things that are important and matter to you.
Yeah. And to all of us.
So thank you for making it easy for me.
Oh, well, thank you for indulging me in all my podcast love and joining me here for our 50 episodes when Monique was not even a podcast listener before this.
Still not really.
So it's just been so great. So thanks to our listeners, and we'll see you in the new year in a new season of the Heart and Soul podcast.
Cheers, friends. You've just finished another episode of the Heart and Soul podcast. We hope that you've enjoyed the show, and if you've loved it, we would love if you'd leave us a 5-star review on whatever platform you're listening. You can find links to leave that review in the show notes, where you'll also find other resources that we reference on our show. And if you think a friend could find value in today's episode or any future episodes, please share this episode with them on social media. This is one of the only ways the podcast can organically grow, and we just can't wait to connect with you and all of your besties. You can also find Monique and I on our many social media platforms or our websites, and we're going to leave links to those in the show notes as well. Thank you for listening. We look forward to sharing our hearts and souls with you again next time. With Heart, I'm Mariah. And with Soul, I'm Monique.